Hi, we've got a faulty Commodore 64 I'm going to try and fix. Pretty good condition, case is pretty good, come with its own power supply, which we've got here, which I'm going to test in a moment. There we go, type power supply, and it's got its own cassette unit, came with a box as well, got it off of eBay, and according to the seller it's showing a blue screen and can't get it to do anything more than that. So what we do first of all is just test the power supply, make sure that that's putting out the good 12 volts AC and 5 volts DC before we continue to plug up and then connect to the monitor to see what the Commodore 64 is putting out. Okay, we're going to check the voltage on the power supply for the Commodore 64 and see where we are from there. So let's go. Right, I'm going to check the AC first, which are these top two pins here. We should have around, it's probably going to be more than 9 volts DC, because under load it'll end up being less. Let's try not to short things out, which is never a good start. Oh, okay. Okay, so we've got 10.46 volts there. It's under load, a little bit high, but I think that'll be okay. Next we need to test the very important one, which is the 5 volt DC rail at the bottom two pins there, and that really needs to be very close to 5 volts. It'll go down under load a little bit, but we're looking probably, you know, just over 5 volts there, if not bang on. Really, we're not expecting a lot of volt drop on when we connect up load on the circuit. So let's just try that. Oops, wrong way round. Oops. Oh, come on. Nothing new. Get it right. Go. So we're looking at 5.2 volts there, DC. That's again about the limit. So I think we're good there. So what you can get with these is you can get a little protector that sits between the power supply and the actual Commodore 64, because what happens is the 5 volt rails on these power supplies tend to fail, and it can burn all the chips, blow all the chips on your vintage computer effectively. So you can get a little adapter that you put in between these that protects that, and that's not a bad thing to have, particularly with an older type of power supply like an original, like what we have here. You know, it's not a bad thing to have, just to protect all the chips that are really hard to replace, and obviously more difficult to replace on the Commodore 64 themselves. But we look good at with the voltage for the moment, so we can go on to actually have a look more at the Commodore 64 and what the issues may be. Okay, so I bought this device here to connect into the back of the Commodore 64. It's got the DIN connection, and what it does is it gives me a video output from the Commodore 64. You've got here on the back of the Commodore 64, this was the port that it plugs into. You do have an analog modulated TV output from this particular port here, and you can adjust that via the screw just here to adjust the different channel and frequency that it comes out on. But the problem today is that a lot of TVs don't have an analog TV input any longer, because they're all digital, and I don't currently have one, so hence that's why I've bought this particular device just here to plug in, which we can plug into the port on the back. Okay, here it says goes in like that. That's it, it's in place. So to give me the video RGB output, so we've got the video and left and right audio outputs from here. You have got super video as well, S video. I've probably got a cable somewhere. I don't know if I've got a TV set that's capable of receiving it, but there is an S video. But for the case of this, I'm going to use the analog video output and connect that up. So here we go. Let's just have a go. So please ignore the colours of my cables because they're a little bit out. But the blue basically is what I'm using for the yellow. Okay, and then we've got red and green for audio here. So that's what our connections are. Okay, like that. Okay, so I've connected up the signal here, and at the moment I'm getting absolutely nothing. Nothing at all, which is, I guess, not terribly useful. It would really help if I got my cables the right way round. That might allow me to see if I've actually got anything or not, rather than having an audio plugged into a video and a video plugged into an audio. And hey, here we go. So this is the display we've got currently, so just nothing on the screen at all. Normally we'd expect some sort of a display here with like Commodore 64 Basic and then a prompt, and then we'd be able to type in from the screen, and we'd better just, you know, we get a physical display, but we're getting nothing at all. So I think the next step here really is to take the Commodore 64 apart, just have a general look inside to see what we've got. I'm sure we're probably going to need to look to replace some of the ROM chips, maybe something like that, but we're going to have just an initial look inside and see what it looks like. Overall, the board looks in pretty good shape to me. Most of the chips look like they're originals. I mean, we've got these 6581 here in a socket, but I think that they did put some of the later ones some of them had sockets, but it looks pretty original. I have to just get out and have a look at the underside of the board, I think, in a minute, and just see what that looks like. But most of the stuff here looks like it's been relatively untouched. Hard to tell if it's been recapped. The capacitors look fairly good, don't look particularly swollen from what I can see. It all looks in relatively good shape. Got a little bit of dust and grime, but hey, I guess that's to be expected. But yeah, generally overall, the board looks in for the age of the machine itself in relatively good shape. So I don't think we can really complain. Looking at the back of the board, again, all looks in pretty good condition to me. I don't think that this board has really been, tampered with very much. I don't see any particular signs of rework on it at any point in time. But it's always with these things difficult to tell, hard to tell, but I don't see any flux. If it has been done, any repair's been done, it's been done pretty professionally, I would say. I don't see anything there. Maybe there's some sockets at the top may have been retouched, but again, I wouldn't definitely rely on that. Going again from the front board side, it's all very clean, looks very good. But I don't have a microscope currently, so I can't see any real get down to super detail on the board to check, if we've got any dry joints or anything like that, or but I don't see anything. From the back of the board, it all looks very clean. There's a couple of capacitors here I'd like to have a look at in a bit more detail, the way they've been folded, etc. But I don't think that's causing any particular problems. So it may be a case now of having a look and seeing what the actual, apart from a bit of cleaning and maybe some of the ports, but even then they're in pretty good condition. A little bit of wear and I could do with a little bit of a clean on them, but I don't think that's causing us any particular problem there. So everything looks, from a visual inspection point of view, pretty good. Okay, what I've done now is I've connected up a test cartridge. As you can see here on the Commodore 64, what this test cartridge does, it allows us to see whether there's some faults. Because we've effectively got a display, I've read up that the ROM cartridge may work. So what I've done is hooked up this test cartridge just to see if we can get any idea of which chip it is might be faulty. I've got a feeling from having had a look, it could well be the basic ROM. I've set the jumpers to do a diag test here. It's got some other ports as well. We've got connections from the serial ports through and from the user ports through to the main board here, where the serial ports connect, and a keyboard jumper as well here. So what I'm going to do is turn this on now and have a check and see what we get. Okay, so here we go. Getting some display up here. Hopefully this will give us a bit of an idea. There we go there. Bad U3, bad U1. Okay, so it's giving us a little bit of guidance here as to maybe what the problem is, which chips I need to start looking at replacing. So now I'll go and have a little look and see what they apply to. I think the U3 is something to do with the serial in and out, and hence that's why maybe we're not getting a successful test on the cassette. And I'm pretty sure the U1 is the basic ROM. There you go, it says basic ROM next to it, so I've answered my own question. Keyboard and joystick. So there we go. I think we've answered there that they're not very good. So I need to have a look at the assembly that I've got and look at the chips in relation to those and see what it is what replacement chips maybe I can get, and put them in like a, also in like a not like a zero insertion board, but put them in a board as well on there, so I can easily take and remove those chips in the future. Okay, let's see what I can get and then come back from there. Right, I carried out some investigation, and obviously we used the diagnostic cartridge to have a look and see what it said was faulty. And what the diagnostic cartridge says faulty was the basic ROM, which is on U3 just here, which you can see I've removed. I've put in a socket ready for a new basic ROM, and it also said that U1 was faulty, which is this one here. Which is like an input-output chip, the keyboard, cassette and things like that. These are both the same chip here, 6526, but it said that U1 was faulty. Now, I haven't done this one yet. I thought, well, what I'd do is, let's get the basic ROM replaced. Let me see if then I get the basic screen come back, the text come back, and then move on if we're still getting the same error. I've got one of these, and I've got a socket to put in here. I thought then what I'll do is, if that's the case and this doesn't cure the problem, just replacing this one, then I'll go ahead and replace this 6526 as well and see where we are from there. So what I've got is, I've got the old chip that I've removed here, I desoldered, which is here. Okay, 901226, it is the basic ROM chip, so it's like the basic instructions, it's the basic sort of ROM read-only memory for the computer. So as we saw before, we got the display, but we're just not getting any of the basic prompt on the screen. And I've got a new one here. So what we're going to do is put that in. So let's just zoom out a little bit. Just going to zoom out a bit. Okay, so let's get this one out. So this one was apparently taken out of a working system, so should be all good hopefully. So what we're going to do is insert it into the socket, the new socket that I've put in. We just take it out gently out of here, quick look at the pins and just make sure they look like they're straight. That one, end one looks a little on the wiggly side to me at the end here, down at this end. So I might try and straighten that one up before we go any further, because I'm not very happy with how that one looks. So let me just have a little look, get some pliers and see if I can just straighten that down a bit. So let me just have a look. I'll just use just getting the right tools for the job. So let me just go here, my iFixit toolkit, and just borrow some pliers from there. Oops, jiggling the camera. Right, hold on, I'm just going to grab up and just get these pliers out, which are now getting entangled in something else. Not pliers, tweezers. Okay, here we go. Right, so let me just grab this one again. Have a look here. I don't think you'll be able to see it on the camera, but it's just this end pin is a little bit twinky looking. It doesn't look very straight, so I just want to give it a slight tweak. Hopefully it'll go in the socket okay, but I just want to just tweak a little bit so that it looks, oh no, that doesn't even look better, it looks worse now. I'm worried about giving it too much of a work over. Just straighten it down a bit. Apart from that, I think the others look all in good, looking good order, so I think we'll give it a little go into the socket. Okay, so hoping this goes in okay. A little bit of pressure, just gentle pressure, just to get it into the socket. There we go, nice little click. Have a little look both sides just to see if it looks okay, which it does. So what I need to do now is just grab the power supply and then just take it from there and see, get this plugged up now and have a look and see what we can see. Right, what we're going to do now is test the Commodore 64. Now replace the basic ROM. Before, obviously, we were just getting the blank screen. We weren't getting a cursor or anything like that at all. And replace the basic ROM. So let's just turn it on and see what we get. Yes, okay, that looks a lot better. We can see the screen I'd expect to see there with the RAM being shown, and we're getting input from the keyboard as well. So let's just do a simple program, very simple and silly program. I'm working 20, go to 10, run. Right, looking good. Okay, that's happy with that. We've got the keys all working there. Let me just do a quick test across the keyboard. Everything looks like it's good. Okay, we're going to need to do some further tests, but what we'll do here is we'll pop in, turn off, pop in a quick cartridge, International Soccer. Let's put that in and see if that's working. Pile that on now, take it just a minute to come up. Probably not even that long. And now that's looking good, so excellent. So it looks like this Commodore 64 is fixed. Want to do a few other tests. Need to test the joystick port, need to test the tape, etc. Some obvious things just to make sure that everything is looking good. But this is good from where we were at with no input and no reaction to anything from the keyboard before. Excellent. Looking really cool. Yep. Game's playing. Looks like it's going to start. So that is looking really, really strong. So excellent. So probably we'll call that fixed, I think, from where we were at before. I may decide to do another video where I place the electrolytic capacitors, because it doesn't look like they've ever been replaced on this board, but I think for the moment we'll call this fixed as it is from where it was. Okay, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope you join me for some further videos and all manner of subjects we're going to be looking at, repairs and all manner of things. If you love the video, give me a thumbs up, and it'd be really great if you could subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and catch you soon.